Hey, good morning, everybody. Well, here it is, Monday morning again. Can't believe the weekend went by so fast. It's going to be another fantastic day today. Crystal clear blue sky, cool temperatures. Unbelievable that we're actually having a real autumn here in Texas, something that doesn't often happen. It's going to be a fantastic day, and I hope that you get the chance to get out and enjoy it. Listen, today I want to talk to you about something that actually is probably more directed at people who don't suffer from anxiety and panic attacks, but maybe know someone in their family who does, or have a friend who does, or just kind of have a general interest in it. It's good for anybody, even if you do have panic attacks, but it's really more for those of you who don't and might be curious about what they are and how they feel and how you can help your friends and family who do suffer with them. First thing is to kind of let you know the difference between generalized anxiety disorder and panic attacks or panic disorder. They're two different things. A generalized anxiety disorder is a disorder where the person who suffers from it sort of always constantly has some level, usually low to medium level of anxiety about a lot of different things in their lives. And they sort of always have this anxiety. It's not something that comes and goes, but it's this sort of perpetual sense of anxiety that they live with on a day-to-day basis. Panic disorder and panic attacks are different from that. Panic disorder and panic attacks are sudden and acute bouts with extreme anxiety or panic that can cause physical reactions in the person who has them. They don't last for a long time. Usually, panic attacks last less than 5 minutes. At the outside, 5 to 10 minutes. Now, sometimes they last much longer than that, and people who suffer with them severely. And I have had panic attacks that have lasted much longer than 10 minutes, sometimes hours on end. But for the most part, panic attacks are sudden, they're acute, they happen without warning. We don't know that they're about to happen, and they come and go fairly quickly. So that's the difference between generalized anxiety disorder and panic attacks. Now, there's some things that I want you to know about people who suffer both from GAD, generalized anxiety disorder, and panic attacks or panic disorder. I think this is important for people who don't suffer to know so that you can better understand those of us who do. First of all, it's important that you know that we're not crazy. So people who suffer with GAD and panic attacks are not insane. In fact, on the whole, we're among the most sane, intelligent, and creative people that you will ever meet. And I'm not saying that just to say it, that there's actual evidence that this is true. Some people, some well-known people who have spoken about their issues with GAD and panic attacks include Leanne Rimes, Johnny Depp, Kate Moss, Emma Stone, Kim Basinger, Scarlett Johansson, Adele. Adele famously fled out of an arena before she gave a concert in her early days as a performer because of a panic attack. So, many creative type people, very intelligent people, suffer from GAD and panic attacks. Some psychologists and psychiatrists even think that, based on his writings, that Abraham Lincoln may have suffered. Now, of course, there's no real way to determine that, but they've looked at some of his writings and some of the things that people said about him who were his contemporaries, and they believe that he might have suffered. So while GAD and panic disorder are classified as mental or emotional in nature, people who suffer from them are most certainly not mentally disturbed or insane. So you don't need to be afraid of us. Secondly, we don't have a switch to turn it off. This is one that is a really sort of a pet peeve of mine. I wish that switch existed because, believe me, if that switch existed, I would reach back there and flip it off every single day. If we could turn off the worry, the fear, the panic, the racing thoughts, I don't know that there is a price too high that we wouldn't be willing to pay to buy that switch. But unfortunately, that doesn't exist. As much as we want it to, and as much as sometimes people in our lives who don't suffer want us to be able to do, we just can't do it. As hard as we try, We can't turn it off. Many people with GAD and panic disorder have suffered with it since early childhood, myself included. And while there may be times when things seem perfectly fine and they're able to function without any trouble, we always know in the back of our minds that that panic could hit at any time. And there are effective treatments for GAD and panic disorder, but there's no cure for it. And so we always live knowing that that could come back at any time. We'll most likely always have it, and there's no way to turn it off. Next, and this is really important, we probably can't tell you what it is that we're afraid of or what it is that we're panicking about. I have a fairly sizable list of phobias. I'm scared of heights. I'm claustrophobic. I don't like large crowds. Lots of different phobias that I have. But ask me when I'm having a panic attack, ask me what it is that I'm afraid of in that moment, and I probably won't be able to tell you. The vast majority of my panic attacks, and I know this is true from talking with other people who have them, the vast majority of my panic attacks are not triggered by any of the phobias that I have. Now, I can't tell you what most of them are triggered by. Um, we can't tell you what we're afraid of during a panic attack. All we know is that the fear is very, very real. This one is especially important to me and to my friends. We need you to be our friend, even though we can't always be yours. Now, I know, know what you're thinking. Listen, if somebody can't be my friend, I'm not going to be theirs. And that's fair, but hear me out. This is maybe the hardest truth about GAD and panic attacks that I know of, is that those of us who suffer need people around us who care about us. We need people around who know that what we're going through and who still love us anyway. And we need people around us who will continue to be our friends, even though we're not always able to be very good friends to you in return. This flies in the face of everything that we're ever told about friendship, right? You know that we always hear that friendships are a two-way street, and that's true. But unfortunately, for those of us who suffer from GAD and panic disorder and panic attacks, we're not always able to travel down the other side of the street. We know that we need to. We know that we should, and by God, we want to, but in that moment, we just can't make the trip. And then finally, and this is important too, these are all important, but some of them are more important than others. It's important that we know that you know that we haven't given up on life. One of the things that I dread most when I talk to people about GAD and panic attacks are the looks of pity that come across people's faces. You know, that look, furrowed brow or raised head tilted to one side, weepy eye, that sort of scared puppy look, right? It's a look that suggests that you're thinking, oh, you poor helpless thing, you've given up on ever having a happy life. But we haven't. Most sufferers from GAD and panic attacks may have some level of depression accompanying the disorders, but we don't often just give up and go to bed. Even during the times that I've been housebound, I've been busy working on trying to get better. It may just be that my busy doesn't look the same as yours, but trust me, I have not given up. And lastly, one more thing I want you to know. If you know someone who suffers from generalized anxiety disorders or panic attacks, I want you to let them know that there is help available, that they can get help, and that it truly does work to give them a way to function even in the midst of something that is not curable. Be a friend to them. Listen to them. Speak if they ask you to, but most of the time, we just need you to listen. Support us even when we can't be a great friend back to you. Don't pity us, encourage us, and remember, always offer the help. Always offer to help them find the help that they need. Listen, folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope that you are well. I hope that you are healthy. And I hope that you are happy. And I hope that you have an awesome, awesome day and week. We'll see you again next Monday. Bye bye.